At this time of Stephen's death, it was quite clear that most churches did not have a particular strategy for supporting people who were the victims of racial violence. I think it's right to say that there were individuals within the structures of the different churches who would have made responses either by joining a campaign, and the campaign, as you would know, went on for some 6 years, including the public inquiry. So I think, virtually speaking, we could not see numbers of Christians up and down the country actually standing in protest in support of the Lawrence family. I think, secondly, as head of the commission, and the commission had a certain independence in terms of what it did, my predecessor, David Haslam, had set up for the commission to make a response to the inquiry. And that was very important, speaking on behalf of the 31 denominations that we represented at that time. And as I took over from him, the inquiry was coming to a conclusion. Of course, we got word of the publication of the Lawrence Report, the Stephen Lawrence Report, called the Macpherson Report. And we built a conference around that, a conference from across the country. People came, some 450 people turned up for that. It was a nice day out for people too. But there were churches who were quite keen to learn what the lessons would be for the churches. And we were quite favored with the family, both Neville Lawrence and his wife Doreen, and as people who were very much strategically placed to speak to the churches. And that was really very well received. Out of the public inquiry, the commission decided to make some publications. We wanted to take the evidence that were produced in the Lawrence Report, such as, for example, the definition of racism, which I use up until today, because it covers a wide range of issues within the context of institutional racism. We developed what we call guidelines and principles for churches wanting to fight racism in Britain. We are not aware of the extent to which that has ever been used. We created also a book called Asylum Voices. We wanted to make the connection between racism in Britain and immigration policy, and how immigration policy has been delivered. And finally, we wanted to ensure that young people had an opportunity to meet and engage with police, and we created a project called Peers, Policing, Employment, Education, Rights, and Self-Esteem. But by the time that came, it was my time to be leaving the commission.